Hopefully the shots are sick. Cut to the YouTube vid. If it's an interview on set, it would be like, what are good things to say? What would you say for YouTube video?
Just experimenting on set. Sometimes that's just how you gotta do it, is you go into it with an idea and then you really pursue it when you're on set, because then you can see everything come together. Just something like that, I don't know, some shit like that. So I want to open this video up with a couple things. A, shout out to Zhiyun for sending me their new light, the Zhiyun Molus X60 RGB. I really appreciate it because not only did I not have a light, so it really helps having one and being able to use one on my shoots, but also because it shows me and other creators who are in the same boat as me, who are, you know, smaller, that you don't need 1 million subscribers to have companies reach out to you. You need to just consistently try your hardest and make the best content you can, and brands will notice and people will notice. So thank you so much, Zhiyun. But yeah, recently I shot a music video. I was the DP and I was kind of in control of, you know, setting up the scene, kind of helping the director get his vision into the video. So basically we broke it down into 3 different scenes, and I'm going to discuss A, how the scene was kind of set up, and B, how we used the light in the scene, just to show how much of a benefit it was on set. So this part of the music video is more of the performance scene, so it wasn't necessarily in correlation with the words. It was kind of just fun scenes that you can, you know, interlace throughout the whole video. And the first scene was a ton of CRT TVs, and then we had a couple lights. The CRT TVs, we set them up behind the talent, and we just set them to no signal. That way there was kind of an RGB, and this in turn matched with the light, which I'll get into. But we had the TV set up behind the talent because it just added quite a bit of dimension, and it was just like an awesome looking set. And then above them we had a key light, and this was just on a C-stand. The setup was honestly extremely ghetto because it was kind of weighing really weird, so we used some like gallon buckets to help tie it down, and it ended up working, and it was safe. Like, we tested it, but it was just a little bit ghetto looking. So yeah, we had a 200-watt light right above them, and we had that set to 5600, and the room was completely hazed out, so we didn't really need to use a softbox or anything. It ended up being really soft on them already, but I did that to help separate them from the background because it was kind of just very flat if you didn't have necessarily a key light above them. But we did end up shining it actually a little bit behind them, because if you put a light in front of them and there's a ton of haze, it'll almost like decontrast them a little bit. So putting it a little bit behind them definitely helps to help them stand out. And then we had the Zhiyun light in the very back, and it was just sitting on the big TV, and I actually set that to RGB, which is nice because there was a ton of effects, and so I just clicked the disco mode actually, and you can change between the amount of colors. So I just set it to 3 colors, which was just red, green, and blue, but you can go all the way up to 20. So it's kind of nice that you're able to, you know, switch that out, because I did only want the R, G, and B. So that was extremely beneficial, because at first we kind of just had it set to like red, and then we tried green and then blue, and then it just didn't really, like, it wasn't enough. So to make it more chaotic, we had it literally flashing RGB as fast as it can, because you can change the speeds as well. We just let it blast. Power was at 100%. So I think that really helped add a lot of chaos to the scene, and it was really nice because I noticed that with some lights, when you use like 5600 Kelvin, they're extremely bright, but when you go to colors, they're definitely not as bright. But I will say that this light held up its brightness throughout the whole thing. So whether you're on blue at 100% saturation or 5600 Kelvin at 100%, I would say they're equally as bright, which is really nice because other lights I've had definitely did not do that. So yeah, we basically shot this whole scene handheld. As you can see, it's extremely crazy, a lot of wild movements, and we shot this on the Viltrox 1.3x anamorphic, which is the first anamorphic I've ever used, but it's also one of my favorite looking because on the FX6 there's no open gate, and I actually shoot a lot of my things at 4096, so 4K DCI, and it helps to, you know, de-squeeze it, and it's not so wide where it's literally just like a slit on the screen. So it was really helpful to have a 1.3x anamorphic and not like a 1.5 or a 2x. And then we did a couple scenes where I was actually shooting under the light, and that was aperture pulling, which was crazy. I've never done that before, but I was basically had my right hand pulling aperture and focus at the same time. I was just going crazy. Honestly, probably could not replicate that ever again, but it was super awesome. I think it turned out amazing. So we had kind of 2 split scenes. We had the one that was handheld getting both of them, and then we had him stand on a stool so I could get a little bit more under and shoot those shots of him kind of moving his head in and out of the light. For the second scene, we actually attached the Zhiyun light to the camera, which is awesome because I've never really thrown a light on a camera. I guess I have like little light panels here and there, but I've never thrown extremely powerful light on the camera. So it's super fun to, you know, test it out. And then I was kind of messing with the effects, and I found that you could just do flashing, which is nice because I feel like, again, some of the other lights I've used, there's no just like flashing mode. It's always SOS or lightning, and there's no just like consistent flashing. So it's nice because, again, you can just put it at 100% brightness, very bright. You can adjust the speed, and then I put it at 5600 Kelvin. Some of the more budget lights, their 5600 Kelvin is very tinted. It's either green or a little bit magenta. So it's nice having a solid 5600 Kelvin. And we actually use the DJI transmission as well as a ton of HDMI cables and adapters to hook up the A cam, the FX6, to the CRT TVs. So whatever I was shooting was ending up on the TVs. And it was just the most insane look because then people who are on B cam or BTS could actually shoot the TVs and basically shoot what I'm filming, but with in real life overlay. So it looks absolutely amazing. I think honestly some of those shots look better than mine just because they have that CRT feel. But again, this is probably my favorite thing, and it honestly wasn't necessarily for the actual music video. We kind of just tried it and ended up having a lot of fun. For this, we used the 8mm APS-C lens, so that's why you can see there's a little border, and we used the 14mm G Master for a lot of those wide shots. That way we could have autofocus as well. Again, probably some of my favorites because there's just so much movement. It's just so wild having this light flash. Another thing that was nice is I didn't have to keep the light plugged in. There's a little battery grip on the side, which I really appreciate because not only did it last a very long time, because we ran the whole RGB scene on battery. We didn't have it plugged in. And then we ran those flashing scenes on battery as well. So it's nice that I didn't have to stay like tethered to the wall. I could just use this battery, turn it at 100% and not even have to think about it at all. But we used a lot of these scenes just to kind of get wild, get a little bit of creative, because as I said in the beginning of the video, which I know is kind of like a little joke thing because they were asking like, what would I say on camera? You need to experiment on set because I feel like I am definitely not as experienced to know, okay, this is exactly how I want to go about it on set because I need to kind of see it when I get there. Just remember to leave a little bit of extra time just to experiment and to like mess around because you never know. Maybe you get on set and you realize, okay, this looks good, but if we mess with this, it looks a lot better. So giving yourself that time to just do whatever you want is definitely beneficial. And the final scene using the Zhiyun light was a bit of a slower scene, and we basically set it back in the same spot as to where it was with the RGB, but we set it to just a strong blue, and we hazed it out a little bit extra. And the reason I did blue was because I wanted a little bit of color contrast between the yellower 5600 Kelvin light and then the blue RGB light. Kind of makes it feel like it's more of you're in the middle of nowhere and it's that nighttime feeling, even though there is a little bit of light. I felt like it just added a very good color contrast. And honestly, if we wanted to change it, the light does have Bluetooth, so I could have just hopped on my phone and then adjusted it and not had to go back behind the TV, mess with the C-stands, do all that. This time we actually connected the B camera, which was an FX3 with the 14mm, I believe. We connected that to the CRT TVs. That way I could shoot from other locations and then we could have different angles of them in the background. Comment down below if you've ever messed with CRT TVs because I feel like they're just so different from normal media. I don't know, they just look awesome. So being able to use them, especially having multiple and not just one, was absolutely amazing. And being able to experiment and overlay the actual video in real time in the background is an awesome experience. So if you ever get to try it, definitely do. It adds so much value to your videos. But yeah, we had the B cam attached to the TVs and we kind of messed around with some different angles, and then we tried using some flashlights. They didn't actually end up looking that great, but again, we just experimented, and being able to see the light beams go throughout the whole set looked cool in theory, but it just didn't match the video. The final scene was just some projector stuff. We ended up getting some cooler shots just with messing around because sometimes that's just how it goes. The artist stood in front of the projectors, kind of had some overlays that we had found on YouTube just playing throughout. Just messing around with anything you can. Projectors are always fun. They're always a good option because you can shoot into them, display different lighting, and see how you can do. And you can also use them to display onto your subjects. But overall, that was the video. I think it went super well. Honestly, it's just such a fun experience because A, I love shooting anamorphic, and B, I love designing sets that are very outlandish and just not something you would see in everyday life because it helps just make your scene look almost like a dream. But comment down below if you like this style of video where I kind of go through all the BTS video we have and break it down, how we shot the scenes, how we lit the scenes, what equipment we used. I would really appreciate that because I would love to do more of these videos. So if you guys like them, comment down below, like the video. Yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next Monday to get back on the regular schedule. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys next Monday.